Over the years, we've trained thousands of virtual assistants to launch, grow, scale their businesses from scratch. And here's the reality. Some of those businesses thrive. We see them go on to make $1,000 a month and $5,000, $10,000 or more per month. It's insane. And it's like, these people get it. We're so excited for them, right? But the reality is some people don't. Some people fail in their businesses. Some of them don't succeed. So today I'm going to be uncovering why some virtual assistant businesses thrive and why some fail. If you haven't met me, I'm Abby Ashley, founder of The Virtual Savvy. We're all about that work from home lifestyle, creatively carving your own path, and that's what we talk about here on my channel. So if you want to learn more about how to make money from home, you definitely want to subscribe. Go ahead, do it. I'll wait. And make sure that you click the bell to be notified every single time I go live with a new video. When I was in college, I shared a duplex with a few other students, and we had this really crazy tradition where we would go around just scaring each other. Literally, my friends would wait in the closet waiting for me to open the door so they could jump out and scream at me. At one time, my friends and I literally sat on the roof for like 3 hours just waiting for one of our friends to come home. We didn't know when she was gonna come home, and we just sat there on the roof waiting for her because how amazing it was going to be when she finally got home and we could scare her from on top of the roof. This was really unsafe. It probably was not a good idea, but I get it, right? Nobody likes the feeling of being scared. And so when you first start your business, it's terrifying. We are so scared. And that's what we're gonna talk about, right? Because believe it or not, the number one thing that stops businesses from succeeding is fear. We have a super big Facebook group full of virtual assistants, literally over 80,000 of them. And the other day I asked the question, what do you think is the number one thing stopping you from being more successful as a virtual assistant or freelancer? And we got a ton of responses, but notice the reoccurring theme. I see some who are scared to go for their worth and afraid to market themselves and what makes them an asset and unique. Being an introvert that hates phone, video calls, working to continually push myself to step out of my comfort zone is a big challenge. And yes, here's the word, fear of a process that takes a while to build into an active business. Fear of not being good enough in the midst of all the competition. My biggest fear is failing. Fear of not being able to succeed and provide for my kids. Having no self-confidence. Doubts and experience, scared to try and start, fear. I've noticed for me that sometimes just seeing that other people have the same fears as I do actually helps me overcome my fear, because part of being scared is feeling like you're all alone in that feeling and that it's just you that feels that way, but it's totally untrue. And I hope that by showing you these other people who have the same feelings, you can say, oh, I'm not alone, number one. And next, we can figure out, what do I actually do with that fear? I love this quote by Dale Carnegie. Inaction breeds doubt and fear. Action breeds confidence and courage. If you want to conquer fear, do not sit home and think about it. Go out and get busy. Do you realize that your inaction, you just sitting in your fear, is actually fostering more fear? That's why we always call getting your first client the first client hump, right? It feels like, oh my goodness, it's gonna be so scary. What if people say no? What if I can't do this? But once you actually get that first client, this is a reality. Somebody is paying me to be their virtual assistant, right? I was able to land my first client, and you get over that first initial wave of fear and it helps you to go forward. So it's that action that helps you to actually conquer your fear. I think sometimes we think that it's other things, right? We're like, oh, maybe I'm not that scared. Maybe you recognize you're scared. But for a lot of us, I know sometimes I'm definitely more of I'm a positive person. I'm like, oh, I'm not scared. It's just that I don't have time, right? Or I don't have good time management, or, I really don't have the knowledge, or I don't have the skills yet. Those are really my feelings. But at the end of the day, are you doing something to actually go against that, right? Are you actually learning new skills? Are you rearranging your calendar so you will have more time? If not, why not? Probably, if you really, really dig down of why am I not pursuing this? Why am I not moving things out of the way so I can get to my goal? The reality is probably fear. So I have found that there are two types of fear that most of us deal with, either the fear of failure or the fear of rejection, maybe a little bit of both, right? Am I speaking to anybody else here? I know this is entirely how I felt when I first started my business. Let me know in the comments if you have experienced one or both of these types of fears. So we know what fear of rejection is, right? It's that feeling that, oh my goodness, what if they say no? What if I ask a client or I ask a friend who is a small business owner to be my client and they say no? And that fear of rejection sometimes can be super stifling, right? It's like, I'm frozen in my tracks because I don't know how to get past this fear of somebody rejecting me, my services. That's really, really difficult. Then there's also the fear of failure. Some of us are like, nah, I can get clients, it's fine, but what happens once I get the clients? What if I let them down, right? What if I make a mistake? What if I don't do it perfect or even close to perfect, right? Our fear of our inadequacy is really, really stopping us from even getting clients in the first place because we're so scared of what's gonna happen once we actually sign the contract. Okay, so let's talk about how to overcome this, right? Because what we've seen already is, number one, we are not alone in this fear, right? It's not just you that feels this way. And if other people are feeling these same things and other people have gotten to the other side of those fears, because we all have them, right? Not a single one of us goes into this business without fear. So there are people who are successful. We have thousands of students, right? Who are making amazing money, landing clients, building teams, living their best life, right? So if people get from here to here, what's actually happening? Let's break it down. How do you overcome the fear that's stopping you? So I have two really practical tips for you. The first one is to face your fear. What does it mean to face your fear? I literally want you to take it from back here and put it right here, right in front of your face. I think one of the things that makes fear so scary is that it's looming, is that we kind of feel it back here, like we feel it behind us, like creeping up on us, right? And we feel it behind us, but we don't actually let ourselves sit in it, experience it. We don't look at it straight in the face. So one of my best recommendations for this is to journal it out. I'm a huge fan of journaling. So take some time to sit down and say, what am I actually afraid of, right? And so what happens is we take it from back here, this looming fear, and we put it right in front of our face. And sometimes I will do the what if train. So I'll write down, I'm scared of getting clients. Okay, so dig a little deeper. What about that is scary to you, right? I'm scared of the moment where they will say no to me, right? How will I feel in that moment? Okay, what if somebody says no? Go to that. Okay, well then I would feel really embarrassed. Okay, and then what would happen, right? Okay, well this would happen and I guess I would go after and get more clients. Okay, then what would happen? Well, I guess if I kept trying, eventually I would get another client, right? I have to keep following the fear down that path. Okay, this is the worst case scenario. Okay, let's imagine that worst case scenario happens. Then what? Right? And journal it out, because a lot of times the things that are so scary, it's just because they're looming. It's just because it's right here. When we actually look at it and we look at it straight in the face, we realize it's not so scary. Okay, so let me take you behind the scenes and actually show you my step number 2, which is conquering fear with truth. Okay, so this is literally a project I have to do with myself once every few months, right? So I'm going to draw a line here. And I'm gonna put fear on this side and I'm gonna write truth on this side, okay? And so this is when we talk about facing your fears, you literally want to write them down. Look at them straight in the face. What am I afraid of? I'm afraid of rejection. I'm afraid that my Aunt Sally, who has a business, will say no, right? I'm afraid that I will have to stay in my 9 to 5, right? So what are the things that you're actually afraid of? What are the things that are making you nervous and scared? And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna draw a line, right? And on this side, we're gonna combat each one of those fears with some truth. So I'm afraid of rejection. Well, what is the truth? What would you say to somebody else who, take yourself out of the equation? What would you say to somebody else who is facing that fear? I would say, well, you're worth is not determined by someone saying yes. Okay, so that's a truth, and that might be something that I have to tell myself over and over and over, but it's a truth to combat the fear. Aunt Sally might say no, right? Like, I'm really, really afraid of actually asking this one particular person. Well, the truth is, she might, and that's okay. And if you go down the reality of like, hey, this relationship isn't going to be broken. I'm going to prepare a lot for this scenario. I'm going to really, really be ready. And it's okay if she doesn't say yes, right? And so go through each one of your fears and tell yourself, what would you tell somebody else in this situation? What's the truth of the situation that you want to share with somebody else? Tell that to yourself. All right, everyone, I hope that these tips have been helpful to you. I just want to let you know, I see you. I feel you. You are not alone in this journey, okay? And if at any point you're feeling alone, please come chat with us inside of our group, right? You will be filled with a community that is so supportive. Feel free to post your fears, right? If you're needing somebody else to speak truth into you, that is the group that's going to do it. You can go to thevirtualsavvy.com/community to join our free group of virtual assistants and aspiring virtual assistants. All right, guys, I've decided at the end of this video, I'm going to scare my husband. So he's just about to come out of the bathroom and I'm waiting. He has no idea I'm going to do this.